Crystia!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Today I've got a video that's not really so much about what's happening in Canada, but what's happening around the world, as it appears WW3 is full-on breaking out across the country, or across the world. This is something I feel that we need to talk about. It's something we need to report on the channel. I have often said that when it comes to Canada, I don't hold a hat in the ring when it comes to what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in the Ukraine. I don't think that Canada should be funding billions and billions of dollars over to the Ukraine at a time when Canada can't even take care of itself, at a time when our corrupt government is involved in scandal after scandal after scandal of padding people's pockets and putting through totalitarian bills to take away fundamental rights from its citizens. What we're seeing across the world right now is different, as Iranian ballistic missiles are now raining over Israel. This isn't going to end well. We're also seeing on the Ukraine front threats coming out. A lot of people have been saying that Justin Trudeau is going to delay next year's election based on going to war. This is already happening. I'll show you what's going on right now. Over on Twitter, insane footage showing dozens of Iranian ballistic missiles raining over Israel. Let's take a look at this real quick. I know this is typically something we don't show on the channel, again, something we don't really talk about. Things are about to get really heated. If you take a look here over at Clash Report, multiple impacts in Tel Aviv now, showing missiles coming down straight up. Here we go.
Oh God. Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We got to go inside.
I mean, this is insanity. Here we go. All the politicians involved in continuing this war are all hidden safely. It's the only innocent that will get hurt from all of this. That's truly what's going on here. If you look over in the Ukraine and what's going on, Vladimir Putin has come out issuing a nuclear warning to the West over the Ukraine. Now, Vladimir Putin issues these warnings all the time. All the time. It's always, you don't want to do what I say, I'm going to threaten nuclear war. You don't like what I'm putting forward, nuclear war. You step over my line, nuclear war. He talks about it all the time. What's statistically accurate when you look at the United States, when you look at NATO, when you look at the amount of nuclear arms that the United States carries, as well as how well the United States and other neighboring countries could essentially take out Russia if they wanted to. Nuclear war is not a good option. Billions, well, hundreds of millions would perish before anything was resolved. I've seen military simulations that say it would take roughly 40 to 50 days to strategically take out the Russians and any kind of threat. But let's take a look at this clip with Putin. I can't really maximize it because you're not going to see the subtitles. Putin threatening war. It's being reported by The Guardian.
В сегодняшней повестке дня у нас вопрос, связанный с обновлением основ государственной политики в области ядерного сдерживания. Наряду с военной доктриной это документ, в котором официально определена и детализирована ядерная стратегия России. Прежде всего зафиксирован базовый принцип применения ядерного оружия, а именно использование ядерных сил – это крайняя мера защиты суверенитета страны. Мы видим, что современная военно-политическая обстановка динамично меняется, и мы обязаны это учитывать, в том числе возникновение новых источников военных угроз и рисков для России и наших союзников. Обновленные редакции документа агрессию против России со стороны любого неядерного государства, но с участием или при поддержке ядерного государства предлагается рассматривать как их совместное нападение на Российскую Федерацию. Также четко фиксируются условия перехода России к применению ядерного оружия. Будем рассматривать такую возможность уже при получении достоверной информации о массированном старте средств воздушно-космического нападения и пересечении ими нашей государственной границы. Имею в виду самолеты стратегической или тактической авиации, крылатые ракеты, беспилотники, гиперзвуковые и другие летательные аппараты. Оставляем за собой право применить ядерное оружие в случае агрессии против России и Белоруссии как участника союзного государства. С белорусской стороной, с президентом Беларуси все эти вопросы согласованы. В том числе, если противник, используя обычное оружие, создает критическую угрозу нашему суверенитету.
So essentially what's being said here by Putin is that if anybody were to step over their boundaries, that he outlays as their sovereignty. Even using conventional weapons threatens their sovereignty, which gives them the right to go to the nuclear option. This is very scary because ultimately whole cities in the West could be taken out by the push of a button. And my question for you, the viewers, is when you have leaders like Joe Biden, like Justin Trudeau, do you really think somebody with the testicular fortitude of Vladimir Putin is going to listen to either of them? This is where I've said a million times over. Canada should have no horse in the race when it comes to giving money to launder to Zelensky, to the Ukraine. We should have stayed out of it. We should continue to pull back and say, enough is enough. We're out. No mas, no more. You have to protect your own citizens at one point. Do I think Putin's going to really enact nuclear war? No, I don't think so. But when you look back to even as far as the Cuban Missile Crisis, the nuclear option is always on the table. And what you need in countries, what you need, the purpose of showing this isn't to pander to those going through war. War is a horrible thing. What it's to show is that you need people to lead your country, that are actually going to prove results, that are going to handle your military accordingly, fund your military accordingly, and stop shilling to countries and getting involved in wars that have nothing to do with us. Justin Trudeau would benefit to focus more on political issues than his late night talk show appearances, his celebrity gatherings, and his virtue signaling to the public. Somebody like Vladimir Putin is not in the least bit scared or intimidated by Joe Biden or by Justin Trudeau. And if he is intimidated by Joe Biden, it's not by Joe as a person, but mostly because of the amount of long-range missiles that the U.S. possesses, as well as their military might, that, again, from simulations has stated that the U.S. would literally roll over Russia. It would take time. Lives would be lost in the process. The last thing we want to see is nuclear war. I mean, personally, if you ask my own opinion, I call for nuclear disarmament. I wish that weapons like that were not available, that they were disarmed, that they were illegal to produce in any country. I don't think that any country should possess that kind of power, because essentially when we discuss the nuclear option, you're talking about the future of the human race. You're talking about wiping out mankind's ability to continue to be the dominant species on this planet, all over political problems, all over borders, over oil, over resources. Is Canada prepared to go to war over its virtue signaling? Is Canada prepared to push back against Vladimir Putin when we've sent our entire military equipment stockpile, as well as a lot of our troops, over to the Ukraine already that have been expanded? Not expanded, but expelled. They're no longer viable. I'm not sure what the future looks like for Canada, but I can tell you right now that the protests need to stop immediately. Canada needs to start cracking down. If you want to protest for Palestine in the streets, if you want to pray in the streets, go to your mosques, go to anywhere where you've got your religious foundations. Go pray in a mosque. Don't clog up the streets. No more protesting with the flags. If you want to protest with flags and cheer from the river to the sea, get on a plane, go over there. As far as I'm concerned, same with the Ukraine. If you wanna go over there and fight and push Putin to the brink, it's all risky as far as I'm concerned. But again, I wanted to show just what is happening in the world because again, a lot of this stuff gets cut. But when you look at what's happening in Tel Aviv, when you look at what's going on with the Middle East now joining into the fray, this is a declaration of war, and this is going to get very interesting, especially headed into a U.S. election over who the United States' next president is. You hear Donald Trump talking about ending things with Putin, that he could essentially negotiate. Keep in mind, when Donald Trump was president, there were no new wars. Donald Trump stepped into North Korea and essentially went to the table with Kim Jong-un. That's a leader. You need a leader in these times. And Canada and the United States being threatened by Vladimir Putin just shows how weak we are at the table in terms of our leaders, and how devastating things can get for all citizens in the future. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think these protests should start to be dismantled? Do you think that the country should stop focusing on virtue signaling and maybe start worrying about what's happening around the world in terms of how we get this to end, how we get ceasefires before tensions hit a boiling point? Let me know your thoughts down below. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you hit that bar, as we climb our way to 50,000 subscribers, that you also click your bell for notifications and join me here on the channel every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show where we go over everything that's happened in the current week in politics, everything coming up in the week ahead, and some back and forth within our community, joined by my wife, the beautiful Mrs. Fringe. Her and I both look forward to chatting with you guys each and every Friday here on the channel and hearing what you have to say. And we look forward to seeing you here starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central this Friday here on the channel. I hope you guys, I always say I hope you enjoyed this video, but I hope you enjoyed the information of this video at least. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.